Okay, I'm looking at the latest news here from the ABC Australia, 5th of February 2016, about the FGM trial case in Sydney and the sentencing. Women convicted over repugnant genital mutilation of two girls showed no remorse. Remorse means deep regret or guilt for a wrong committed. Deep regret. That would involve emotion, wouldn't it, and feeling. It says that they showed no remorse. I noticed that the Human Rights Commission has never ever shown any emotional feeling about the genital integrity of little boys and their right to genital integrity, a human right. No Sex Discrimination Commissioner, no National Children's Commissioner, no President of the Human Rights Commission, no Disabilities Commissioner has ever defended a boy's right to genital integrity as a human right. They have never had any emotions, of sympathy or unhappiness, sorrow, anything for boys, even when they were sitting in pools of blood. Some Australian boys had to be airlifted, they were underage, they were minors, they were sitting in pools of blood, and the Human Rights Commission kept mum blind and deaf about that. Yes, anyway, let's read on. Two women convicted over a genital mutilation procedure on two girls have shown no remorse and only offered qualified, ambiguous and self-serving apologies, a New South Wales court has heard. Former midwife Kuba McGuinness, 72, and the mother of the victims, who cannot be named, were convicted in November of mutilating the two sisters in separate procedures. The procedure, known as Kartner, involves nicking or cutting a girl's clitoris in the presence of several female elders and is considered a rite of passage by some members of the Dawoodi Bohra Muslim community. The case is believed to be the nation's first successful prosecution over female genital mutilation. Well, Australia's first people, the Aborigines, the Aboriginal tribes of Australia, Australia's first people, some tribes did practice genital cutting, some practiced male genital cutting, and some practiced female genital cutting. So genital cutting isn't new to Australia. It is not something new. It has been practiced in Australia for possibly hundreds, thousands of years. I wouldn't know. But the case is believed to be the nation's first successful prosecution over female genital mutilation. A third offender, senior community leader Shabir Mohammed Bai Waziri, was found guilty of acting as an accessory after the fact by directing community members to lie to police about the practice. Addressing a sentencing hearing in the New South Wales Supreme Court, Crown Prosecutor Nanette Williams said the girls were effectively voiceless in the face of their mother and McGuinness. I've heard that boys scream. I've heard that boys scream and they aren't voiceless. They scream and scream when they're genitally mutilated. They do. I've heard that boys scream, and I know that human rights commissioners, sex discrimination commissioners, children's commissioners, presidents, disability commissioners, I know that they didn't care when boys screamed. Indeed, Elizabeth Broderick, former sex discrimination commissioner, told me through her staff that genital integrity of boys was not a priority of hers. I don't think it's going to be. Ms. Williams said full-time imprisonment was the only appropriate punishment and would act as a deterrent to others in the community. What is being done to deter people from genitally mutilating boys? Girls are protected by law, aren't they? They're protected by law. The charges carry a maximum penalty of 7 years jail. I believe it's 21 years jail nowadays. These women must have been charged before it became 21 years. She said female genital mutilation was repugnant to a civilized community. So she's saying FGM is repugnant to a civilized community. But MGM isn't repugnant to a civilized community. It's done every day in Australia, isn't it? It's done. There are clinics all over Sydney. Google circumcision, male circumcision, and clinics all over Australia, and Sydney will come up, and it's perfectly legal to genitally mutilate a boy. And in 85% of 85% of FGMs performed are less neurologically damaging than those performed on males. She said female genital mutilation was repugnant to a civilized community. None of the offenders had shown any remorse, she said, and they had only given qualified, ambiguous and self-serving apologies. I know the Human Rights Commission don't give a fuck about the genital mutilation of boys, I know that much. I comment because I'm genitally mutilated. I've got extra holes in my penis. I've got skin bridging. Look up skin bridging on Wikipedia. Look up skin bridging on Wikipedia or some of the circumcision sites. See how ugly skin bridging can be. These women should be there protecting the children, Ms. Williams said. These women should be there protecting the children. I know of women who should be protecting the children. I know of the Human Rights Commissioners. For the past 30 years, the sex discrimination commissioners have all been females, and not one spoke up for the genital integrity of a male child. Not one. The present president of the Human Rights Commission is female. She said that she believes all children should be educated in their fundamental human rights, but she has never even typed up a web page on the Human Rights Commission website alerting boys to the fact that genital integrity is their human right. She hasn't, so she's full of shit. She was talking through her ass, wasn't she? And Megan Mitchell, the Children's Commissioner, she's never in 3 years protected a male child's right. She's never spoken up for a male child's right to genital integrity. The most recent report on children's rights said nothing of the genital mutilation of boys, and yet she went on in that report to talk about the neurological damage that abuse to a child can cause. It's known full well that the erogenous tissue theft from a male child causes neurological damage and psychological damage. It's neurotraumatic and it's psychotraumatic. These women should be there protecting the children. On the contrary, they took advantage of their position of trust and power. I trusted the Human Rights Commission to defend boys. The Australian Human Rights Commission doesn't defend the genital integrity of male children. They haven't in the past 30 years, and I don't think they're going to start now. There is no evidence whatsoever that the offenders have acknowledged that there was some injury as a result of their actions. Yes, no Human Rights Commission, President, Sex Discrimination Commissioner, or Children's Commissioner has or ever will defend a boy. That's what I say. That's my notes in the sidebar. Procedure designed to make women more marriageable. That's interesting because male genital mutilation is designed to dumb down male sexuality. It's dumbed down to repress male sensation. It is. Ms. Williams told the court that children had experienced pain as a result of the nickel cut they endured, adding that the procedure was designed to inhibit sexual pleasure. Maimonides said that. He said this clearly, that male genital mutilation was meant to dumb down male sexuality, reduce pleasure, reduce sensation. And he even talked about the attendant pain, yes. What word did he use? Attenuating? Whatever. Anyway, he talked about the pain being another means to drive male children off sex. I was genitally mutilated without anaesthetic, not that anaesthetic makes it right, mind you. Available evidence strongly suggests that this was never any form of benign procedure, she told the court. Is there a slight inference there that male genital mutilation is some sort of benign procedure? Because you can make benign procedure arguments for MGM or FGM. You can talk about the health and cultural benefits of FGM or MGM. You can. It has to do with a sexual repression of women to make them more marriageable. This is coming from a female, what's her name? Crown Prosecutor Nanette Williams. It has to do with a sexual repression of women well, I just make the point that male genital mutilation is about the sexual repression of men. It's about the dumbing down of male sexuality and male sensation. The court also heard Vaziri had lied to police, telling officers he had never heard of female genital mutilation and did not know if it was performed in his community. Sorry, but it's very hot in here. Stuart Bouvang, representing McGuinness, acknowledged there was no evidence of the women's contrition, but said the long-term impacts of the procedure were minimal. Now, at 60 years later, I've still got extra holes in my penis from over 60 years ago. Yes, long-term impacts. As I understand it, 85% of FGMs performed worldwide are less severe, less neurologically damaging than MGM, male genital mutilation. So that's worth a point. That's a point worth keeping in mind. Cutting out erogenous tissues. Erogenous tissue theft on male children dumbs down male sexual expression. It really does. He also said the Crown case did not give any assistance to the court on the objective seriousness of such an offence. The case is expected to return to court later this month. Yes, I wonder how long those women will be sentenced for. They were found guilty, weren't they? And this is all about their sentencing. I don't like being genitally mutilated, and I resent the fact that society allows boys to be cut up. It doesn't care when they scream in agony. It doesn't care about neurological damage. Go online, go to some erotic websites and have a look at a male penis that is, compare male penises that are genitally mutilated and some that aren't. Have a really good look, have a really good study. You'll notice that they're completely different. One has lost a whole lot of neurology. All the biomechanics are completely different. They're not the same. I believe that little girls should be protected, yes, but I also believe that little boys should be protected. See ya.